All right, welcome back everyone. My name is Pritesh here with Kaizen Crypto, bringing you another video. So I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. In this video, a recap of the monthly October update for Cardano. Lots of information. It was a 2.5 hour long segment, jam-packed full of information. So to everybody who contributed to that update, really big props because there was a lot of information that was discussed in that video. So today I wanted to go ahead and share with you all some of my thoughts, going over some of the key highlights of that update. Hopefully you are able to find some value going over this recap and just seeing some of the things we can look forward to coming up in the next coming months. So if you guys are interested in that type of content, be sure to stay tuned. All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. So to get things started, as far as the format for this type of video, there was so much information talked about within that update. I wanted to just highlight some of the key topics that were discussed. As far as what we have pulled up here on the screen, this is going to be a timeline, so to speak, for the Cardano native tokens. Now, with this, I guess the biggest takeaway is that they're working on all this infrastructure so that when we do actually go through the process of this phased rollout for Goguen, we're pretty much going to come to a point where we have the infrastructure built so that by the time the network upgrades take place, we're able to simply migrate this over to the Cardano blockchain to allow the functionality and utility to be brought forth by all these implementations. So really cool. I like how they've got everything kind of structured here. As far as what we're looking at with this native token standard, so Cardano native tokens are very interesting in that an asset issued on Cardano is treated the same way that ADA is treated. Unlike with Ethereum, and they've got that illustrated here, just showing you the comparison. The Ethereum blockchain, Ether is given preference, and assets that are created on the Ethereum blockchain are treated as second-class citizens, so to speak. So here we've just got a comparison. I want to actually go ahead and play this clip from Vukasin to kind of highlight some of the differences with Cardano native tokens.
Yeah, basically, as I mentioned, we are treating native tokens the same way that we are treating ADA. And because of that, transfers of native tokens are very efficient. They are safe because those are based on the ledger. Other than that, we have special characteristics like supporting non-fungible tokens out of the box. Also, we allow users to transfer multiple native assets in one transaction, which can be very interesting, and many other smaller ones.
It's almost like a collection of services, isn't it, Book? It's we're going to be creating a bundle of services that we can provide token creators in the future, like, for example, tying in Prism or the identity piece, or even what we're doing with Voltaire and the voting angle of it. We're even looking at how to design that in as a part of this, correct?
Yeah, definitely. This is just the base on which we can build many other features on top. And in fact, we are gathering so much feedback from the partners that we're working with for the ERC20 converter. That we have so many interesting ideas that we are going to be rolling out slowly.
One of the most interesting things that were highlighted during this product update are going to be the ERC20 converter. So Vukasin actually continued on with his presentation to show us what this actually looks like. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what we can expect with this ERC20 converter.
So there are three ways in which a partner can convert their tokens. The first one would be by airdropping the token on the destination network, in that way basically cloning the token. The second one would be by burning the token on the source network and creating one on the destination network. And the third one would be by locking the token on the source network and releasing it on the destination network. Now we are going to go through a flow of migration in the second case, where we are locking the token on the source network and releasing it on the destination network. The token that we are going to convert is SingularityNet. And the first thing that I need to do is authenticate on Web3. I'm going to do that with my MetaMask account. And when I'm connected, I'm going to see all the tokens that I have on the account. And I can see the balance that I have for AGI. Now I'm going to select all the tokens that I have, and I'm going to paste in the address. MetaMask is going to ask me to confirm. I'm going to confirm the transaction, and the transaction is going to execute. When the transaction is done, I'm going to get a message that it was successful. Let's wait for it. Yeah, the migration was successful, and what I can see here is that I have 8 tokens on Cardano that I can play around with Daedalus or whatever I want. Now, if I'm a partner, what I need to do is I need to sign up here, leave my email, my name, my surname, the organization that I represent, and paste in the address of the ERC20 contract that I want to migrate, and just request for the migration. It's very simple, in a similar way that I did convert SingularityNet. You can imagine in the future being able to convert a DAI token or a USDC token basically independently. Now, if a token is not eligible and I want to be alerted of the changes of that, I can be also notified on my email, and I just leave my email and I subscribe to it, and anything new that happens for that particular token, I'm just gonna be alerted. Thanks, and hope you like it.
Very, very cool to see that ERC20 token converter in action. I think the way that they've got it laid out with this portal, incredibly clean user interface. I think that the process is going to be very seamless for somebody who does want to convert a token on the Ethereum blockchain over to Cardano. One of the most interesting takeaways that I have for this is all the different features that you have as far as if you do actually have a token and you want to convert that to Cardano, you can simply integrate your MetaMask wallet. You have this user interface that's incredibly simple, and you're able to simply just press a few buttons. You can confirm the transaction using your wallet, and you've converted a token onto the Cardano blockchain. So amazing to see how they've put this together. It's going to be cool to see this in action. So guys, I hope you are enjoying the video so far. If you guys are finding some value from this video here today, please be sure to drop a like for me. It definitely does help out the channel. As far as what we're going to be looking at coming up very soon, we're going to be taking a look at the new release for the Daedalus wallet, talking about some of the features that they are working on and some things that we're going to be expecting as time goes on. So all of that coming up right after our sponsor.
Hello. Sorry for interrupting this awesome Kaizen crypto video today. If you're interested in running your own stake pool but don't have the technical knowledge or the time, that's what I'm here for. Feel free to contact me at peyton@bloompool.io for either stake pool consultation services, help with creating your own stake pool, or I create and maintain the stake pool for you. If you want more information, reach out to me at peyton@bloompool.io. That email will be in the description.
Thank you so much to BigPey for sponsoring today's video. So the next segment that we have as part of this update, they went on to talk about the new release of the Daedalus wallet. So they recently came out with version 2.4.0. With this new update, we see quite a few new features highlighting the saturation indicator bar. So this is a really cool way to tell the amount of ADA that's actually delegated to the pool. So you actually have an indicator that shows the saturation level of that specific pool. I really like that. You do also have tooltips now. So whenever you click on a tile for one of these stake pools, if you're unsure about maybe what saturation means or maybe what the pool margin means or anything like that, let's say if there's a parameter that you have a question about, if you hover your mouse over this little question mark, you can actually get an explanation of what you're actually looking at. So I think that's going to be very useful for the end user. There is also the ability to see potential rewards for that particular pool. This is going to be based on the amount of ADA that you're actually going to be delegating. So very interesting. I feel like a lot of these things are going to be useful to the end user. One thing that has been getting quite a bit of controversy within the community is the current rankings in Daedalus. So very interesting. I feel like the way that it's set right now, we can see that the top 226 pools are currently getting ranking. Everything below that is kind of grayed out. So Charles Hoskinson did actually give some remarks regarding this. Let's actually take a listen to see what he had to say.
Just today, we've received a lot of concerns over, for example, the stake pool ranking in Daedalus. Let me be very clear about something. There's no problem with the ranking software. The problem is the K parameter. It needs to be increased. And the fact that things are getting grayed out is an indication that the ranking parameter is actually working right for the first time. So K needs to go up. But there are consequences of that, and we need to improve the software to reflect those consequences. But it is my goal to get K to 1,000 before, ideally, D hits 0. But by no means is that the end of the story. We need partial delegation and delegation portfolios. We need means for Stakepool operators through PubSub to communicate effectively and efficiently with those who delegate to them. We need improvements in Smash. We need an identity center. We need a litany of improvements to Daedalus itself. Right now, today, there are more than 4 companies working full-time at doing just these things.
Very interesting to hear those thoughts from Charles. So the teams that are working on this experience are really putting forth in a lot of effort. They're working on multi-delegation. They're working on hardware wallet integration. There was even a mention in this update about the IOG pools becoming private in an effort to actually help support community stake pools. So there's a lot of work being done. I think that we will see this become more of a polished product as time goes on. Charles actually did even mention the K parameter. So just briefly touching on some of the parameters and where we are at currently. Right now, the K parameter is sitting at 150. This is an indication of the desired number of pools on the network. So if we do see actually the K parameter go up to that 1,000 for the number of desired pools, it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to affect rankings in Daedalus. I think overall for the entire health of the network, we will see that this is really going to benefit overall decentralization. And if you couple that also currently the D parameter, the decentralization parameter, which indicates the amount of blocks being produced by community stake pools. Currently, we're at almost 0.5. I think in the next epoch 227, we will reach a D parameter of 0.5. which would mean that half of the blocks are being minted by OBFT nodes at IOG, and the other half are going to be minted by community stake pools. So as time goes on, as this D parameter continues its slow, gradual decrement, they're anticipating a D equals 0 sometime around March or February of 2021. So, I think as time goes on, we are definitely going to see this network become more and more decentralized. And the last parameter they were talking about is A0. So A0 is going to be the effect that pledge will have on the pool rewards. Pledge is essentially the pool operator's skin in the game, so to speak. So now with all these different parameters, the people who have implemented this are really going through this process methodically so that they can make the correct decisions going forward. So that's just a quick update regarding the parameters. Wanted to just go ahead and share that with you all. The next part of our update for this segment here today, we're actually going to be taking a look at the Marlow Playground. So Professor Simon Thompson was able to share a brief demo talking about what is now available with Marlow. There was actually a mention of JavaScript and being able to write a financial smart contract using JavaScript and being able to move that over into the Marlow programming language. So really interesting. Let's actually take a look at this demo by Professor Simon Thompson.
Okay, so I hope you can all see that I've shared my screen. What you now see is the landing page for the Marlow Playground. And let's concentrate on what the diagram is saying in the middle there. It's saying in the center of the diagram you have the Marlow icon, and we're saying that completely interchangeably, we have this visual version of Marlow in Blockly. So you can move between the text of Marlow and the visual arrangement of Blockly in how you look at your programs. But off to the left, we've got arrows coming in, one from Haskell and one from JavaScript. And what we're saying there is that you can use your programming skills in Haskell or JavaScript to help you write contracts, to break them down into smaller portions, name parts of them, use editing facilities that there are supporting those languages. So within those languages, you can create contracts and compile them, convert them into Marlow. And then on the right-hand side, what you see is we can then simulate those. So something I didn't stress when we talked earlier on was that one of the great things about the Playground is that it allows you to see how your programs, your contracts behave. It allows you to see what happens under various choices, under different execution scenarios. So you can see, you can validate your contracts before you run them, before you put cash into them. But let me start off just opening an example in JavaScript. Let's start there. And what you see now, we've moved into a JavaScript editor. This is the standard editor for JavaScript called Monaco, which is the editor that you see inside Visual Studio Code. So for example, if I mouse over this, it gives me information about all the things I've imported. This is one of the Marlow constructs when, as it appears in JavaScript, and You see there, we need to have some cases, and we have what's called a timeout. What happens if nobody gives any inputs up to the timeout, and then what we do if the contract, if we reach the timeout. Or if we looked at a pay construct here, you would see that in a pay there would be a party making the payment, there'd be a person to whom the payment is made. We'd say what token it's in, ADA for example, what value would be paid, and then the remainder, the remainder of the contract. But let me also show you, we have the visual version of Marlowe. And what we're seeing here is a way of building contracts. This is a visual version of the contract we were playing with in the simulator. But we can use this, if I click on here and delete, we can build a contract up from scratch. And how we do that is by using these menus on the left-hand side. And if I click on contracts, this shows me there are 5 different ways of building a contract. This is the first one. This is one that waits for a user action. So we need to stick an action in this hole. I mean, I could try and stick a contract in there, and you can see it doesn't fit in. It won't go into that hole. But if I choose an action like a deposit, that will fit in there. And then I can add the things I need to add for a deposit, such as who the person making the deposit is. Let's say that's Alice. And I can then put in things like amounts. I can put in what currency we're using, which here is ADA. I can put in a value of, let's say, 1,000. So we're able to build up these contracts, and we see that this is a great way of seeing what Marlowe can do.
Really cool to see that demonstration of the Marlow Playground from Professor Simon Thompson. One of the things that excites me the most about this is the Blockly user interface. I think that for somebody who wants to get involved and write financial smart contracts for Cardano, and they don't necessarily have the technical expertise, or maybe they don't have a programming background, being able to actually use a graphical user interface to drag and drop different pieces of a financial smart contract, I think that's really a game changer. Because let's say if you're coming from maybe a finance background, like let's say if you're a banker, or maybe you have a corporate background, maybe you have management expertise, but you don't necessarily have the programming or technical knowledge in order to create something like this. Blockly is a tool that I think is going to gain a lot of traction because of the ease of use for being able to actually get started. So really excited about that. The next segment we have is going to be related to the GOGUEN rollout plan. So this is actually very interesting. It's actually a pretty complicated series of events from what we can see in this clip, but essentially I just wanted to go ahead and give a brief overview. So Charles was talking about the hard fork combinator events. So we're anticipating one of these hard fork combinator events to pretty much kickstart this transition towards the GOGUEN era. We're going to be anticipating that coming up in the month of November, if not early December. So this is actually going to be one of the first phases of actually rolling out GOGUEN onto the mainnet. Let's actually take a listen to some key points mentioned by Charles.
The rollout of GOGUEN in terms of the system, as we mentioned in the presentation, will be principally done for the first iteration over a series of 3 hard fork combinator events. The first of which is beginning this year in November-December timeframe. And that's going to lay a lot of the foundations that will enable us to get to the second hard fork combinator event, which will occur in Q1 of next year, and we'll announce that specific date likely at the next product update. And then the third one will happen shortly thereafter. They have to be spaced this way because it's just simply too cumbersome on our developers and also our partners, such as wallet infrastructure and exchanges, to try to do too much too quickly. And furthermore, there's an enormous amount of work, as you've noticed on that slide, to roll out GOGUEN. Now, you have to do 2 things at once. You have to deploy the infrastructure, but then you also have to populate the infrastructure. And what's nice about the way that we've done things, as you now see with the Marlow Playground, the population of that infrastructure is occurring now today. And with the ERC20 converter and the Mint testnet that's coming, that's going to occur in November, which means that gives people time to start building and playing on our ecosystem in a safe sandbox so that when they deploy it to the mainnet, they do it right the first time and they don't make an existential failure, as we have seen with the DeFi space. So parts of Goguen are indeed shipping this year. Some have already shipped, and we'll have another HFC event at the end of next month or early in December. And throughout the first quarter of next year, and likely the second quarter, we'll complete the other two HFC events, which will roll out full support for native assets, extended UTXO, the Plutus infrastructure, and the Marlowe infrastructure.
So some key takeaways is the process being used to roll out Goguen is very similar to that methodical process we saw for the rollout of Shelley. So as far as the different iterations, we're going to see multiple hard fork combinator events. Hopefully we are able to see a Goguen mainnet by Q1 of 2021. Very interesting to see those updates. I wanted to go ahead and play a clip talking about the project Catalyst. This is one of the most interesting developments to be happening currently with the Cardano project. Voltaire, which is the governance era, is really taking shape. Dor Gabash has actually got some really incredible numbers to share with us. Let's go ahead and take a look at this clip.
Hi Dor, how you doing? Another busy month on the Project Catalyst program. You've got a few bits of news for us and some interesting statistics, I think, as well, haven't you? Perhaps you want to share a few of those and let us know how it's all going.
Yeah, I'd love to, Tim. Thanks for calling me in. Yeah, we've been really busy and just basically experiencing like really high growth, and I think we can safely determine now that we are the biggest decentralized organization in the world. So like how do I know this? How did we determine this? I want to share some slides, just share with the community some statistics. Okay, so what you're seeing in front of you right now is a screenshot I took from a website called DeepDAO. So what DeepDAO, this website does, and it's a really nice website, by the way, is it aggregates data from different decentralized organizations from across all the blockchains and give some statistics about them. So you can see here the top 5 DAOs in the world. You can see that all of them are on the Ethereum network. So let's look at what's ranked number 1, PyDAO by Aragon. Okay, so it has controls around $80 million in value. It has almost 2,000 members. It has 1 proposal, 6 people voting. Okay, you have this number 3 P network. It has 1,210 members. Okay, and maybe if you look at number 5, DXDAO, you can see they have 106 voters. All right, so let's compare it to what we've got. How we're doing so far. So we have right now 96 proposals on the ballot. We have 673 people who registered as community advisors, 127 who actually made an assessment and participating, over 1,780 assessments that were given to proposers. We have 3,345 members. All right, so that is basically almost double, okay, the largest DAO. So we're basically, in terms of membership, we are definitely the largest by a significant margin. And we have 719 people on our announcement Telegram, which is the place, and I hope you'll share a link at that point, because that's the place to be if you want to get informed about the latest and the next actions. And lastly, we just released this week a very early beta version of our voting app, and we already have about 2,000 app downloads. So let's dream together, okay? Let's say that every person, we're probably going to get a lot more downloads by the time voting starts. But let's imagine that every person that downloads the app actually going to register to vote and participate. that would mean we are basically will be the 20x, more participants in voting than any other DAO in the world.
So some very very impressive headline numbers there, Dor, but also fantastic to see the level of engagement and creativity that we've managed to generate as a community around the platform. We've actually got a little bit more about a few of those ideas on today's show as well, as people will know. But look, Dor, thanks very much. We'll leave you to get back to work and keep moving things forwards in such a brilliant way. We'll see you very soon, Dor. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. So the roadmap is coming together, and Cardano 2020 has definitely started to evolve into quite a mature ecosystem. And what's really exciting is we're going from an ecosystem of potential to one of reality. And instead of asking what could we do, we're showing people what has been done, and people are actually doing things every day. Our commercial team is inundated with requests for coordination and cooperation and deployment. I get numerous emails every single day, well-intended, to very serious about people wanting to build on the platform, and we're real excited about that. So we're going to keep this steady, systematic, relentless march. As you saw with the enormity of the news today, it's business as usual, and it'll be exactly the same in November, only there'll be more. And every month the velocity increases. We burn down the remaining story points to get these things done, and things are happening very quickly. And we just keep releasing and releasing and releasing. And it's a very different time than it was even 6 months ago. What's so reassuring is we continue to have the best community in all the cryptocurrency space. It's the final point, but it's one that I'm most proud of. You see, people get to decide where they want to live, what infrastructure they want to deploy on, who they want to work with. And when you have a welcoming, warm, and friendly community that is constructive and productive, and their job is to help you get to where you need to go, you want to work with those people. Money can't buy that. I don't care if you have a bank account with $4 billion or you're a central bank. You can't buy character, and you can't buy culture. You have to make it, and you have to earn it. And if we've accomplished anything over these last 5 years, from the 90 papers now and the 1 million+ lines of code and the incredible releases that have happened and continue to happen, we accomplished the greatest thing of all. We built a community to rival that of Bitcoin's. And I believe with that community, we can realize the dream in the coming years of Cardano becoming the financial operating system for those who don't have one, and giving open, fair, and free economic identity to those who need it.